what we're going to talk about here is wind direction. Okay? And most of the cases here, the orientation of the roll is not important. But take for example, coming off of this roll, right, in this fashion, or in this fashion rather, you can say that the printed material has an orientation relative to the way it comes off the roll. When you're providing a roll to a customer, it's standard to ask them, what wind direction do you want? And they are going to tell you, depending on the substrate, anywhere from between number 1 to number 8. Now, to go very quickly through those orientations, here's a printed label. Now, I'm just going to take out a little portion of it. We can talk about the orientation relative to the way the roll winds, okay? Now, the standard way to look at a roll is facing the roll, it's coming off like this. Forget about the orientation for now. This is the standard position for the roll.
As far as the orientation, the way it is right
now. Right now, you get yourself where the roll is and you say, okay, I'm behind the machine, it's on the floor, it's on another piece of equipment, but you get yourself oriented so that the roll is coming off like this, okay. Right? Okay. Now, if it reads right, that's a number 1 wind. If it reads upside down relative to that, that's a number 2 wind. Okay. If it reads from the top to the right, like that, that's a number 3 wind, and the opposite of that, bottom left to right, like that, is number 4 wind. Okay? Now, then in other industries that print on clear material or other materials, or maybe even here, there'll be times when you're called to have an orientation relative to the inside of the roll. Or you can still think about it outside, but orient yourself this way, and you're printing on the inside. Number 1 now becomes the next one, which is number 5. Upside down, like the number 2 is now number 6. This way, the number 3 is 7, and that way, number 4 is 8. Now, like everything else, I like to have a logic to things so that I can understand them and remember them rather than just trying to remember those positions. How was I able to do that? The logic that I apply is, okay, if I'm looking at a roll and that's the standard position, great, that's the standard position. Now, the first wind I'm going to account for is the one that's just reading right, okay? And that's up this way relative to that roll. Well, might as well make number 2 just the opposite of that, okay? Now, what about number 3 and 4? Well, when something is oriented correctly, you read from left to right, okay? The way I think of it, 3 and 4 is going to be either this one or this one, sideways. Well, 3 is the next one, the first sideways thing. So 3, I say, is from the top to the bottom like that. That's logical to me. And then 4 is just the opposite of that. You remember those principles and you remember the orientation with just looking at it without having to look at a chart. Now, having said that, in order to remember that besides this video, on Flexography Principles and Practices, page 6, book 6, page 195, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, look at it. See that?
Yeah. And then we went upside down.
That's what I described.
1, 2, 3, 4. Right.
All right? So now, that's important in most cases. Now, in this case, it's not important. For your customer, we asked that question of Josh and Dan. It's not important, right? Okay. However, in my shop, if it's not important, I'll make a decision, okay? And then I'll standardize that. And if it was me, since in this case it's okay, I would make it so that when it's on the press, it's reading like that. Since it's sideways, rather than trying to read the stuff upside down, if I have the choice, I'm going to make it on the press so it's easy for me to read. And if it was coming off, either right reading upside down, I'd have it coming off, if I had the choice, right reading, so it's easy for me to read it if it's coming off the press this way. So, in my shop, I would standardize it, and I would say, for this job, I'm going to do, what number is that?
Okay, let me see. It's 1, 3, 4. 4, that's 4.
Yep, that's right.
4.
That's right. Okay. So we're going to say on our work order, wind it up on a number 4 wind. Why? You have the option. Your operator is going to get used to referring to that. So they don't have to ask a question or look at not applicable. Put one in there. It's just as easy or easier than leaving it blank. And then you say, okay, it's going to be a number 1 from now on until we change it over. And that gives you the benefit of being able to water on the press. That's right. And if you do that, if you standardize, you're going to almost remember, oh, for that one on there, I have to mount it this way. And you're going to start to remember these things as you start to benefit from standardizing them on the press as well. Okay? All right. So I said now we're going to go into actually positioning this plate on the cylinder based on measurements. Okay? All right.